Hello and welcome to the official Rainbow Six Hate podcast, the really big fucking podcast. We're gonna get into everything we fucking despise about this bullshit piece of shit game. And then we're gonna talk about one or two things that are cool. First off, yeah, maybe. We're gonna go over the patch notes. We're gonna go over the new season and how it's okay at best.
How it's coming along.
Gonna hit on the new stuff that just came out on the TTS. We went in and tested some things, learned some stuff. Spoiler alert: Capitao is still broken.
Yep.
And then we're gonna talk a little bit about the Pro League. Fabian was on the Pro and Potato and talked about some interesting things that we would like to extrapolate upon. And then we're gonna stop talking about Siege because it's a bad game. No, it's actually a great game. It's a terrible game that I can't stop playing.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
So first off, the new season is out.
Yeah, and it's been a wealth of disappointment so far. I mean, we were all coming off a high note from the Invitational, right? We all had year 4 roadmap, everything was looking great. And then the season itself drops, and it's just like buggy as hell. The glitches everywhere. Like it wouldn't have been so disappointing if it weren't for the high expectations going in. Mm-hmm. But combine the high expectations with the glitches and bugs, and it just made for a pretty bad season drop, in my opinion.
Yeah, and also, I could have looked past every single one of these glitches if we just had, like, a ranked playlist that looked more like the SI playlist.
Yeah, probably.
I wouldn't have.
I mean, the content's great, right? The operators are great. The map's great, minus the bugs, which we'll talk about. But like the content itself is good. It's the stability of the game that is the problem.
Yeah. Specifically, stuff that makes your game crash for no reason. Or
game crashes or like so I guess to sort of itemize these problems, right at the beginning when the season dropped, right, there was that data center problem where basically everybody across North and South America was getting put on the same servers, and same with Europe, I think. But like we were playing with people from Brazil, from like East Coast, Central, West Coast, everybody was just all mixed into one ping, like through the roof, like 260 ping for some people, which they fixed, right? And then there was the ELO bug as well, where people were winning games and losing 1,000 ELO, which again they fixed, and it had something to do with the ELO rollback system, with the cheaters and people that were boosted, getting their ELO taken away from them. Or if you lost to a cheater, you'd get your ELO refunded to you. And they just basically had to roll back that system entirely, even after testing it all last season, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they said that they rolled it back, but they haven't necessarily fixed the problem and put it back in. So,
right.
And I think it's obviously much more of a problem to have some cheaters with an inflated ELO than to have a bunch of other people losing a ton of ELO for seemingly no reason.
Yeah, it's definitely better for them to roll it back than to just leave it as it is.
Yeah, I think everybody liked the idea of it, but like if they hadn't even mentioned it, I don't think anybody would care. Like, I don't get that big of a justice boner knowing that some people who got boosted lost some ELO.
Right, we've been dealing with it for 3 years now at this point. Like, cheaters are cheaters. You take your L, or if you can manage to win, great. But like, we're all used to dealing with it by now. You just accept it and move on.
Yeah, one of the other weird bugs that cropped up this season is the ability to see who your opponent's 6th pick to
in custom games. Yeah,
which affects Pro League, because you can tell now, like, the Pro League doesn't have 6th pick turned on anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, like, the Collegiate League has it turned off. Although I think, like, as far as I could tell, Go4 still had it.
Yeah,
like, we played we played a Go 4 this weekend, and we still use 6-bit because that's what the rules said. But like, it's kind of weird that ESL has different rules
Well,
between like Go 4 and the Pro League since they run
we
both of
we
them.
had it turned on. We didn't use it. Like we as a team decided not to use it because of the glitch. But like
Yeah, I mean, we
we
definitely used it once or twice, but
maybe yeah.
yeah,
I
because we
think
just like
that was
screwed up our
because
picks.
yeah, that was because of op pick problems. But
Yeah,
we weren't using it as intended.
right.
Another glitch like was I've heard about it. C4 people using C4s, either crashing their own games or crashing other people's games. I haven't experienced this personally, or maybe I did. My game did crash at one point, but I don't know if it was C4 related.
Yeah, and I think the people who are reporting that glitch aren't totally sure why it's happening or how to replicate it. So at least you don't have people with the ability to like crash other people's games just by doing some weird C4 thing. I mean, maybe somebody out there knows exactly how to do it, but they're not posting it on Reddit,
If you're the
which
kind of
they
person
shouldn't
that's
be
going
doing.
into like games and testing out how to crash other people's games with C4s, then just fuck off. Like
Yeah.
you're the worst. You're the worst kind of person.
Uh, Actually, that reminds me of the one of the other big dumb glitches was being able to vault or not vault, but swing in through a clearly not there window
On the new
on
map,
Outback.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there were people just left and right. It was like every 5 minutes you would see a new post on r/Rainbow 6 of people just posting that glitch and be like, "Hey, this is weird, right?"
Yeah.
Even though like there were literally tens more posts that had been posted that day. And some of them were like really high level posts too. That I think got shut down. I know Reddit's weird because like if you report a post, it no longer shows up in your feed, but I don't know if it is still there for everybody else, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like people just love posting glitches that are totally game breaking, and those people need to fuck off.
True. True. Yeah, Reddit's an interesting place.
That's one word for it.
Yeah. And then that's not even all of the Outback glitches, right? Like I don't even know if I've never seen the glitch where you can vault in through the ceiling, through the roof.
Yeah, yeah. Without going into any detail, yeah, you can clip your way into the building some interesting ways.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how it's done, but I'm also not sure that that's been fixed as well because I haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah, the one of the ones that I've seen, I'm pretty sure has not been fixed.
Yeah.
Although I am fairly certain it got posted R6 fix, but I don't know. We'll see. I might go into a custom game just to see if it's still there, but I don't remember exactly how to do it.
Right. And then it's so some of the features that were supposed to come in to Year 4 Season 1, right, were the ELO rollback. And then they condensed all the game files. So instead of having like 100 gigs between the game and the HD texture pack, and then if you have the test server, it's another 65, 70 gigs. Mm-hmm. So like you're talking about like 170 gigs between the two builds of the game if you have the HD texture pack.
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you brought that up because you just reminded me that my official favorite thing of Year 4 Season 1 is that the game is 20 gigs smaller than it was.
It's really cool.
That's the best thing I can say about Year 4 Season 1 so far.
It is the best thing, but I don't know if like that is part of the problem of all the bugs and stuff, or like the sound. Can we talk about the sound for a second?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
I have died to so many C4s that I've never even heard.
Dude, I'm missing people like dropping hatches and like I can't tell where anything is coming from.
I'm not sure if this one is a bug, but because crouch walking has always been a little bit overpowered, but I feel like it's gotten worse in the past month or so. Because crouch walking is just the most OP tactic in the game right now.
Crouch walking, I mean, yeah, like as a 3-speed, like a crouch walking Ash is the meme, right? Like you get killed by a crouch walking Ash. That's like, you can't even be mad. It's just like funny. I mean, you can be mad, but it's still funny.
Like, they can be just creeping around a corner like a meter away from you, and you just have no idea.
Yeah, you just can't hear anything. And I don't know if it's just me, but it feels like my overall volume was like turned down. Like it feels like everything's quieter.
Yeah, I haven't noticed that specifically, but I wouldn't be surprised. So
So I don't know what's up with that. I mean, I don't know if like trying to condense the game files like messed up something with the sound propagation or what, but like you got people reporting that their sound sounds like it's reversed, like they're hearing stuff from the left, it's coming from the right.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's bizarre.
there's a lot of situations too now where, and I with a 2-channel audio system, it's kind of impossible to do this. So like you kind of just have to turn, but it's really hard to sometimes tell whether something's behind you or in front of you.
Yeah, or like above you or below, which has always been a problem, but I think it's slightly worse now.
Yeah, I wish there was actually a way to, like, there just literally is no way with only 2 channels to tell if something is in front of or behind you.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, something's off.
I don't know. I might have to test it out because I have Astro A40s, but I'm not using the digital surround option. I'm just using them in stereo.
Yeah.
But I have the mix amp. I might have to test it in digital surround.
Yeah, and also I've been told that Siege just doesn't take advantage of digital surround sound at all. But I might be off on that. So
that's
worth checking. We should do that sometime.
My audio, like when I switched to just 2-channel surround from 7.1 surround. Did I say surround? 2-channel surround? I meant 2-channel stereo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, it seems like it was better. Like it helped me a little bit better. Like sound was, if not more consistent, I could tell where it was coming from with more consistency. Mm-hmm. But it's something I'll have to go look at. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah. I just figured you knew more about sound technology than me because I'm an old man.
We're the same age, Bino.
Well, I'm not. Won't be on Saturday.
Is your birthday on Saturday?
Yeah.
Wow. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah, turning you turned 31.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nobody cares. Like
no.
After your like 23rd birthday, it's all just nobody gives a shit about anything.
Yeah. Unless you're like, I don't know, unless you're like some super cool dude who just like hangs out at one specific bar and like everybody at that bar knows you.
Shh. That's my secret. Don't tell anybody.
I need to find a bar to be a regular at.
So yeah,
care about
do
my
it.
Birthday.
You want to find a place where everybody knows your name.
Yes.
Just to
Sometimes
further date myself. God, that's terrible. Like the vast majority of people that are going to listen to this have no idea what that's from.
That's probably
anyway.
Where are we?
What's going on? Well, so there was a TTS update like recently, so we can go into that if you want to.
Let's
get into the patch notes
because we're putting all of our eggs in this basket of the test server to save us from these glitches, and so in keeping with talking about the bugs that are out right now, the 2 bug fixes on this update are: hacked drones will sometimes lose signal on various maps. These need to be fixed on an individual basis, and we have not fixed every location as of this update. And then various additional bug fixes. So, I'm not gonna put much hope in this particular update to do much to fix the problems that are currently happening. But
yeah, if you actually like go into the patch notes, those various additional bug fixes are like pretty slight. So they fix says when operators are prone on their back, the weapon switch animation is faster than intended, which okay.
Thank God that was ruining my experience.
Didn't even know that was a thing. First of all, proning on your back, like, can we just get rid of that? Is there a reason that exists? Is there a good reason that that's in the game?
I think the only reason I can see it all is if you're prone and you like back up into a wall and they want your legs to look normal.
Oh right, I remember because like it used to be that you'd be all scrunched up in the corner like a scrunched up thing.
Yeah, but I think the biggest problem for me is that when you're prone on your back, you can't look down at all. Like so, there's a lot of situations where you go up to a hatch, or if you're
Mm-hmm.
just trying to like look through the floor and you go prone to like try to get a lean angle on something,
Yeah.
and you're trying to look down through the hole, and then it switches to have your feet in front of you, and you're on your back, and you can't look down and actually get the kill that you're going for. It is extremely frustrating.
Yeah, it causes problems on both sides because if you're in a gunfight with somebody who's prone on their back, then like it's harder to headshot them
Hmm.
because you're like shooting them in the foot. So it definitely causes problems uh, from both angles. I guess it's I don't know. I don't know if it's better than having people like clipped into walls. Um,
Yeah, I would be fine with people being clipped into walls, honestly. Uh, the the other problem I have with it is that there's instances where you'll be like up against something like some object in the game, and you'll find some place where you just are in a constant switching animation. You just switch
yeah,
from
you're
being on your belly
breakdancing.
to on your
Yeah.
back, and you're not moving at all, but like the game is just switching you back and forth, and you're making a ton of noise, and it's really
Mm-hmm.
annoying.
That is a thing. Yeah.
So it'd be really nice to get rid of that, but
I think that they could avoid the clipping problem if they just had prone block. Like if you were too close to a wall, then you just like couldn't. It wouldn't let you go prone.
yeah, or
Um,
if you were already prone and like backed up to a wall, you just couldn't back up any farther.
yeah, that's probably like I don't know because some the operators when they're on their stomachs, they like kick their legs up like schoolgirls, right?
Yeah.
But you can back up even farther and like prone yourself into a corner where like you look like you've been smashed in a crusher.
Yeah, and if
Um,
you ever go into a corner and then look diagonally, then you're already like you're breaking the laws of physics there too. Like there's no like sideways prone.
yeah, I don't know. It's all weird. I would be fine with a prone block. Like, um,
Have you seen that ridiculous prone location on Bank at on Upper Skylight where you can go prone between that little potted plant and the wall where there's like legitimately only like 8 or 10 inches of space between the plant and the wall, but you can go prone between it, and then your whole entire body is hidden.
I have not seen that, but that
It,
sounds like a cab spot if I've ever heard of one.
it's really silly.
No, I have not seen that. Thank God, because I'd be
Yeah.
so upset if I died to that.
So moving on, do you want to hit Lion or Capitao first?
Well, there's still some more like bug fixes that we can talk about. So,
Oh, sure. Yeah, go on with them.
well, they said that they fixed all the operators having animation issues when they slide, or like you do like a prone slide.
Yeah.
Um, which if anybody's ever experienced this, like if you're trying to if you're proning and then you sprint right afterward, like if you go prone really quickly and then sprint, you just like do this crazy slide dash lunge thing. It looks ridiculous from the first person standpoint. And I don't know that it has been fixed because we just tested on the test server and you can still do it. Like from your first person standpoint, you're still doing it, but from the third person point of view, you're not doing anything at all. Like you don't even crouch or go prone, you just are just sprinting.
Yeah, so I
So,
think actually in the live build, the third person's perspective actually does look like what the first person does. Like it looks like you're going mostly prone and then standing back up and kind of sliding. Uh,
so that they didn't fix it. They fixed what it looks like.
uh, if you want to call that a fix, because it's the weirdest thing because your first person perspective goes almost all the way to the ground, but your third person perspective, we should have tested that. We should have tested if you could actually still be shot, or if the game considered you to be where your first person's perspective is.
No, I 100% guarantee that that you just shoot the player model as it appears on your screen because
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I assumed. But
yeah.
honestly, who
That's
knows
just
with
how
this game,
how the netcode works. Like you shoot a player model, if it's on your screen and you shot it, then that person's dead regardless of their actual position.
Yeah.
If it were any other way than that, it'd be completely broken.
Yeah, I mean, although you can still, uh, I don't know. I don't want to get too into the weeds about net code because it always blows my brain, and then I can't really come up with a coherent thought about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now it just looks like you're walking in a straight line forward, even though on your first
You could be prone spamming all you want.
Yeah,
it
you're like
doesn't
dipping
make
and
a
sliding
difference.
everywhere.
Which I guess is better. I suppose it's better than the other way, but that doesn't sound like a fix. That's not like problem solved. That's like problem covered up.
Yeah,
Like,
it at least
it's a temporary
it
measure.
makes doing it less rewarding.
Oh, it makes doing it completely useless.
Yeah. Like I'm trying to think of a situation where there might be like something you want to like peek under, but still have your player model standing up. And I can't really think of one, but I'm sure there's one out there, and I'm gonna find it.
Maybe.
And I'm gonna tell Goga about it, and he's gonna do it in a pro match.
Like I think the only real purpose for it is like kill cam shenanigans now.
Yeah, probably.
So let's see. They fixed operators break collision when vaulting into the broken shelf and laundry room on Oregon, which I was not aware of, but it's fixed now.
I saw a GIF of that. Yeah, they just like tried to vault onto it, and it clipped them all the way up into classroom, or like right outside of classroom.
Weird. Let's see. They fixed one of the spawn runouts on Outback from the motel parking lot, which cool. It only took them the entire test server plus like a month of the live build. People have been doing that spawn kill since like the very first day. So,
I hadn't actually experienced it. What was it?
when you run out on the catwalk, like by the hotel, I don't know. It's sort of hard to explain, but it's just you run out on the catwalk and there's like an automatic. You just shoot a spot and people die.
Oh, like somebody spawned in an easily just destructible, or in a spot that was just really easy to see.
Yeah,
You
basically.
just jumped
Like,
out. Gotcha.
yeah,
Kinda
you
like
just jump
that,
out.
Kind of like that Oregon jump out from Armory.
Yeah, kind of like that. Maybe not quite as OP as that, but pretty similar. And yeah, people have been doing that since like the first day that the map came out. So they fixed it finally. Cool.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we already talked about the rappel through the blockaded window. There were some problems with Mozzie. You said the one about the hacked drones losing signal. Also, you can't see a outline for the hijacked drone if you're behind a black mirror or a maestro cam, which they fixed, which could be problematic.
I still wish it was more obvious which drones were hacked. Like, I think, you know how yokai drones have like a little icon above them? I think Mozzie drones need that.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong. I mean, it's like the white outline from a defender standpoint is pretty noticeable. Like I think I've only mistakenly shot maybe one or two drones. But it was just because it was like habit, and I didn't even see it. I heard it first, and then I just like whipped around and shot it, and I was like, oh shit, my bad.
Yeah, and see, I think, you know, like since Echo has come out, I think I've maybe shot one yokai drone ever on accident, thinking that it was a normal drone. But I know I've already shot several Mozzie drones because it's like it is noticeable, but
Well, it depends on the background too. Like it depends on the floor. You know, if it's like white tile or something.
Yeah, I have an issue with, like, the problem is that it's something that you're so used to shooting that your reaction time is usually going to be really fast to just go ahead and shoot it. But since the only thing telling you that you shouldn't shoot it is just kind of like a hazy white outline on it, I don't know. I wish it was more obvious.
It could stand to be a bit more obvious. I think that you'll just get used to it eventually. Like if somebody picks a Mozzie on your team, you just kind of have to file that away under, okay, some drones are different than others.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the fact that yokais and Twitch drones sound similar, right? Like if you hear a whirring, then it's like it's one or the other. It's either a Twitch drone or a yokai, but you can tell the difference between the two. But like in the thick of things, you maybe not.
Yeah.
Let's see. So there was something fixed with the timing, where with the right timing, a player can enter and see through a drone that Mozzie just captured. Didn't know about it, but they fixed it. Great.
Oh, like from the attacker side, they could. Still
It doesn't
see?
specify. I'm not sure, but
I assume
probably
that's
what it means. Yeah, because as a defender, you can already do that. So cool.
This
Let's
is
see.
unrelated to bugs, but still on the topic of Mozzie. Part of me really wishes that they made it so that two things. So I wish that you could capture a drone that is outside and get it into the building. Like, I wish there was some element to it that allowed that to be a thing, because even if say you capture a drone like right at a doorway, even if it's like 2 inches outside of that doorway, it's just like you're just screwed. Like you can't do anything because you can't pick it up and bring it inside, and you can't drive it inside either. Like, I kind of wish if you captured it outside, I wish it gave you like 5 to 7 seconds to like get on and drive it back in. But as it stands now, like you only have 2 seconds, which is kind of a minor thing, but like.
Doesn't it give you a prompt when you've captured a drone though? Like,
I think Mozzie says something.
I'm pretty sure he gets an on-screen prompt.
And he probably gets. I think you for sure get points, right? And then.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't had points turned on for like a year.
But then you also do you get a message right on the front and center of your screen saying that it happened?
I'm not sure. We covered this in a previous podcast, but like Mozzie does not fit my playstyle at all. Like I've played him, I think, one time. So I honestly don't know.
I think he fits my playstyle. However, I am probably the worst Mozzie of all time. Because from my perspective, Mozzie is the worst character to come out in like the past year. Because I can't do anything with him. Like I seem to just never catch drones ever. Like even though I play a shitload of mute and I like know how to set up jammers in really like interesting smart ways to like catch drones, but I can't catch drones with Mozzie for shit.
Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same principle because, well, for one thing, the range is less on a Mozzie little spider drone thing. Like, so the risk of somebody accidentally like not knowing the range that they'll be caught, is far less. And then just the way that the fact that it gives you a warning, but when you're near a Mozzie thing, like I guess you get warned about mute jammers too, but it's not the same because
the mute jammers range is so much bigger. I think is
and it's like
reason.
I think that Mozzie is most effective like early round and late round. So he's at his most effective in the prep phase. And in the prep phase, you want to be shooting the drones with this thing and not like pre-placing the thing, I think. And then in the late phases is when the pre-placement ones are better because people are like panic droning, like it's like a 2v3 or something, like, oh, where's the last guy? And they suicide their drone into the site to try to figure out where the last people are playing, and then it gets hacked and then they're fucked.
Yeah, which I think, here's my deal. I think he's no better than Mute in the late game.
True.
But he has the potential to be much better than Mute in the early game. However, the best attackers won't be just driving their drones into the building anyway. Like you'll at most get one drone that might even come in.
Right.
Everybody else is just like getting their drone set up to entry.
Yeah, at the higher levels, he's definitely less viable because I mean, especially if you've been picking him regularly later on in the game, people just won't drive their drones into the site or into the building at all. Which you shouldn't, as an attacker, just from a strategy or a tactics standpoint, you shouldn't be doing anyway. Like at the very most, 1 or 2 people need to drive their drones somewhere near the building to listen for where the defenders are setting up. And maybe if you really need information on op picks, but for the most part, it doesn't even matter. Like, and then especially in comp where there's the reveal and the 6th pick, which I know that we're not doing right now, but they're supposed to be. You can't even play Mozzie in comp anyway, but like next season when he's available.
Yeah, or if you're playing in TMs.
He's
available
TMs or
there.
Yeah.
But nobody plays TMs, so that's almost relevant.
Rip. Yeah, people just don't drive their drones into the building at all, and you shouldn't. You should basically either be leaving your drone so you can pick it up at the beginning, or where you're going to enter from, or watching for runouts, and that's basically it.
Yeah.
Or runouts and spawn peaks.
I think my experience with Mozzie so far has just been that he's at best like a combination of Mute and Valkyrie and a little bit of Echo thrown in there. Like if you can catch 3 drones early and then get good use with them, he's incredible.
Even one drone, to be honest, like having a drone like late game that you can move around and the attackers aren't accustomed to like looking for and shooting can be really powerful. But it's not as powerful as a yokai, but definitely still really strong.
Yeah, and it'll take good communication from the attackers to not get like screwed over by their own captured drones. Like you've got to be able to communicate where your drone got captured and then like go from there. The other reason I think he's definitely not a Mute replacement, because the attackers can just like send 2 drones through it. Like one drone destroys the gadget.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely a thing.
So like you could just send one drone in and then send another one in right behind it.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I don't know. Like I said, Mozzie doesn't fit my playstyle. I tend to like anchor and turtle up on defense. So I just don't play him. He's really good. Like his kit's really good from what I have heard.
Yeah, I think he's really good on certain sites, specifically for just stopping like Twitch drones. Like if there's a particular site where Twitch is really powerful. This is mostly just for ranked though, because that's where Twitch is played the most, and that's also where Mira isn't going to be banned. But for the purposes of ranked, I think there's some situations where you can set up a few Mozzie or a few what are they even called?
I don't even know.
You can set up a couple Mozzies, and then Twitch just has no chance. Like for instance on Bank, at the under the hatch that drops into Sprinkler, right where that kind of like metal jail door is, there's a lock just like to the side of the door, to the point where you can shoot one there and the Twitch drone's never going to see it. They can't get around Pest. That's it. Yeah. So you can put a Pest right on that little lock, and then the Twitch drone just can't get in. Like they can't get in close enough to shoot the mirror window anyway. Right.
Yeah, that's useful. Certain like drone hole spots, like on Consulate and Chalet, where the Twitch drone can just like come in and zap shit.
Yeah, and I think there's the only one that comes to mind at the moment is like the Bank, the drone hole that comes from the outside close to Jewelry Front, that drops into the bottom of Blue. Yeah, you can just put a Pest down on the ground right below that, and then anybody who drives a drone in there is going to get it caught. That one in particular isn't super powerful, but I think there's going to be other instances like that where a drone is just always going to typically drop in a certain place. That might allow you to.
There's some spots on there's on Coastline, right? Drone spawns on the roof, at least one every time. So that might be.
Ooh,
I don't know.
You know how on Coastline, when people spawn their drones up top there, they often will jump them onto that kind of like wooden lattice that's hanging in the middle of the map. I wonder if they've. I wonder if anybody's caught a drone up there, and whether or not that is one of those situations where it's outside the map.
I doubt it. That'd be pretty interesting. I doubt that that's outside the map. I think that would be considered in the map because of the courtyard right beneath
Yeah,
it.
and I think it's slightly lower than the roof, right? So
Yeah, it is.
that one's probably good.
Yeah. So let's see. They've also fixed the bug where barricades could not be deployed near Gridlock's track stingers, which who cares?
Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah. And then so there are 3 fixes for quote unquote user experience. Apparently they fixed it where the game shows a black screen for a few seconds after moving windows around or alt tabbing, which I honestly didn't even know that was Siege's fault. I thought that was just like my PC being stupid.
Yeah, me too.
Because I noticed that a lot. Like I would like alt tab to like look at Discord or something.
I did notice that it was happening more often now, but I just assumed it was me.
Yeah, that's like I just assumed that like my PC was bugging out for some. I was like, okay, whatever. So cool, that's great. And then the Kochi-shin skin for Hibana, there was a gap between the holster and the secondary weapon, which I did notice like immediately because I love Hibana and I love that skin. I was like, oh, this secondary weapon's just like hovering off of this holster. But I did not care at all, and I still don't. And the fact that it's fixed, whatever.
Yeah.
Also, apparently the letter V was censored in the in-game text chat.
Yeah, which that happened a while back too, and I think they fixed it, and then it came back.
That's weird.
A weird thing to.
That is a weird bug.
The reoccurring bugs in this game are really frustrating, and I kind of hope that the new way they've got the files organized helps with that, but I don't know. We'll see.
If any, like my instinct is to say that it would make it worse, but it's because I'm not entirely sure, like why or how they were able to do that.
I think they rearranged it so that there's less superfluous, like just junk files in there. Because I think they kind of just had things a little disorganized, and now that it's organized, I think when they fix a bug, they'll be able to like actually take the old information out, and it won't be around to be reactivated later or something. Maybe that's just my guess, but
I don't know.
Who knows?
I hope so. That's pretty much it for the bug fixes and the patch notes, and then yeah, we want to talk about Capitao Online now. You can just start with whoever. I don't care.
Okay, so we'll start with Lion because I think Capitao is the real big boy to talk about.
Yeah.
So Lion, I'll just go through the bullet points real quick. Reduced ability warning from 3 seconds to 1.5 seconds. Reduced the scanning duration from 4 to 2 seconds, which I actually didn't realize that the scanning was 4 seconds before.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was just. I thought it was the warning was 3 and the duration was 3. So like.
Nah, dude. I thought that the warning was. Like in game, it feels like the warning is like 2, but the duration is like 5. Dude, it feels like it's so long.
Yeah, I can't believe they didn't turn down the scanning duration down to like 2 or 3 seconds before now.
Yeah.
Like the fact that the live build Lion is still a 4-second duration is fucking bananas.
True. And it took a year for anything to happen, and it still hasn't even happened yet. It's just only on the test server.
Yep. Next bullet point,
dumb.
Replace the scan outline by a red ping debuff. Fine. Increase the number of charges from 2 to 3. Fuck off with that.
It's fine. I mean, we tested it. It like with the duration and the way that it is now, like it's really like 3 charges is kind of necessary, I think.
I sit firmly in the camp of I do not give one flying
just take him out of the game.
Yeah, I'm still totally fine with taking him out of the game, even in this new iteration.
Yeah,
fuck him. I don't care. Get him out of the game. Still bad. He's probably not overpowered, but still fuck him.
No, he's definitely not overpowered now. I don't think. I wouldn't even classify him as strong really at this point.
Probably not.
Maybe, but like. Without the outlines, just moving it to a ping system, you have to be paying way, way more attention during the scan.
Yeah,
like as
well,
an attacker.
Here's the thing. I would completely agree with you if it weren't for what we're going to talk about after I'm done with these bullet points.
Yeah.
So, reduce the ability cooldown from 27 to 15 seconds. Fine, whatever. Vigils, and then they added the Vigil's ability to, if he's cloaked, he's immune to Lion Scan.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. Like you and I talked about this a little bit earlier. Like I don't like having random one of counters to things. But you made a decent point that like it just kind of adds another layer to the meta, which I guess I just don't like it, but I don't really have a good argument why. I just think it's some weird thing. Like imagine if I don't know. Like imagine if IQ for whatever random reason couldn't see Alibi's gadget. Like that's what this feels like. It's just some weird interaction that happens for reasons. Like it makes a little bit of sense as far as like real life application or whatever you want to call it. Like he's immune to drones, therefore he's immune to Lion's drone. Sure.
Yeah, it depends on how the fake technology works in the fake game that we're talking about.
Yeah, however you want to interpret the lore.
Yeah.
Sure.
But on that point, it doesn't make sense to me then that, because we did go in and test it, that if you activate Vigil's ability mid-scan and you've already been detected, that you continue to be detected at that point, and it keeps pinging you even after your ability is like activated.
Right,
that doesn't make sense to me.
I have to assume that that's unintended.
Maybe. I mean,
because I could see that like if you just look at it at face value, the obvious easiest way to make Lion's gadget work is just like it's one if then statement, like if moving during this 2-second duration, ping them 3 times over the course of the next 3 seconds.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're detected at the beginning of the scan or at the end of the scan, you're getting pinged 3 times regardless. It doesn't matter if the scan is still active.
Yeah, and
it's basically like if you get scanned like during that time, you basically, it's the same as shooting like an alibi Prisma.
Yeah, and so I feel like if I were the person designing it, I would have wanted it to be where if he turns on his gadget midway through, even though he was already pinged once, then the pings stop. Same with the mute jammer. Like if the Lion scan is already happening and you move in range of a jammer, it doesn't stop pinging you.
Right. Which I disagree with. I think we both disagree with.
Yeah. And I think that's just unintended, but who knows? Maybe that's what they wanted. Because the way it is in the live build, like if you walk during the scan, you get like your outline shown to the attackers. But as soon as you move within range of the mute jammer, it stops showing your outline.
Right.
So I would have assumed that that's what they wanted to carry over into this iteration of Lion.
I would hope so, and I hope that it gets changed, because if it stays the way it is now, I think that that's a mistake, and I would disagree with it.
Yeah.
But
especially
going
because
back
there's
to
not like a really good indication of how far away you are from the jammer. Like there's at least the icon now can tell you like where you're in range, but is the moment you step out of it, you're getting pinged 3 times.
That is true, and it's a pretty small range for the mute jammers, which could use a buff. I'm not sure if that would like break some reinforcements or whatever. I think the mute jammers could use, I don't know.
I think at least for the purposes of things like Lion and like Jackal.
Yeah, if you had like sort of a double standard, right, where like it doesn't let you breach through walls any differently, but it does affect those sorts of things like Dokkaebi, Jackal, and Lion.
Yeah.
Or Glaz. Like I wonder if no, because that's not the same as thermal. Like that'd be cool though if you were in range of a mute jammer, that you wouldn't get.
It probably wouldn't make any
Glaz.
less sense than the fact that Blitz can't use his flash when he's in range of the jammer.
Oh, because that's a remote. It's a remote detonating system. It has a signal. It has to transmit.
I don't think
it makes
is.
Perfect sense.
It has wires. I'm pretty sure it has wires. If you look at the back of the shield, like I'm pretty sure it's hardwired. But yeah. So I mean, honestly, I'd be fine with Glaz. I would be fine with Glaz going into that like static vision when he's aimed down sights, like that same static vision that Jackal gets. I'd be totally fine with that.
That'd be cool. I was also like thinking, well, what I was referring to is if you as a defender were in range of a mute jammer, that you just wouldn't turn yellow. Which doesn't make any sense. Is what I was saying. That doesn't make sense. But it would be more realistic, if not completely realistic.
Yeah.
If his vision got all fuzzy, like that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, when he gets close to one, and you could have that extended range for that. kind of like how
Right,
Jackal
yeah,
works.
have the two different ranges for that. That's something interesting to think about. In terms of programming, it would like knowing how poorly like the game, certain things happen with the game programming. It'd probably just break the whole game.
Yeah.
Um. So that's Lion, and it's not perfect. Like we said, there's still some issues with it, but it's definitely better than just doing nothing about it. It's just a shame that it took so long.
Agreed.
And it's still not even in like the main build is still completely bone stock. Compared to when Lion was first he's seen no changes. It's been a year.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Like the
sucks.
one change was the if you stop moving, you'll stop being outlined. That's the only change we've seen to Lion since he came out.
Yeah, that's true.
And then well, the cooldown and then the number of charges he gets, but like that was secondary to the never being allowed to move at all, in my opinion.
I guess that's fair. Yeah, I did forget about those, but like it's probably because it doesn't feel like enough.
Yeah, and it doesn't change at all how you act when his ability
Right.
is used. So the yeah, I don't. Why can't I just be the developer for Siege, man? I would make
Learn
the
the
game
code, bro.
perfect. I would never make a single mistake
That's true.
ever.
I believe that. I believe that 100%. You gotta
But
just do like all the coal miners are doing and learn to code.
there we go.
That's that's the meme now, right? Like learning
Right.
to code. That's
Yeah. That's what the kids
yeah.
are saying now.
Yeah. Okay. Just making sure.
Cool. On to Capitao.
On to Capitao. Still broken, overpowered, but
Yeah, slightly less punishing as far as damage is concerned, but still.
well, yeah, and at least there's more of a warning.
Yeah, and I don't think the adding the arc to his bolts has really changed much of anything.
Nah. I think that's just from like a realism standpoint.
Yeah.
Like so it doesn't affect. I mean, I guess you can't cross map people with a bolt, but if like who does that anyway?
Yeah, I think there were the one example I did see was what map was it on? Might have been Border. No, I forget which map it was on, but it was basically from a spawn point. Oh, it was Coastline. So from the like front door spawn or the main entrance spawn, you could pretty much just like hop up onto this. I think it was a car, and then you could immediately shoot a hole through the penthouse window, and then fire a bolt, hitting that like back wardrobe where people like to play sometimes.
Yeah.
And you could do that like off of spawn. And like I understand that was probably a problem, but I don't think it's much better now. Like you
should
walk
still be able to do it.
Yeah, you just like either have to open up the window a little bit more or like get a little bit closer to the building now. Like nothing's really changed.
It depends on the exact sort of ballistic arc, but you should still be able to do that.
Yeah. Like I think he's still going to be actually now that I think about it, he's going to be aggressively overpowered.
Yeah.
In situations where people like for instance on that Coastline thing, nobody good actually plays back there. Like
right, exactly. That's
like
what
behind,
I was about to say. Yeah.
Yeah, like behind that bed or behind that wardrobe.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not safe places to play, so people just don't do that anyway. At least in higher elo. But like in low elo, if a Capitao player is like, oh yeah, I can do that, so they just go and do it. Like that's gonna kind of like it's gonna be overpowered in like silver or something. But
well, everything is overpowered in silver, dude. Like
yeah,
Fuse is overpowered in silver.
The answer there is just get better, but still
pretty
like
much.
The same thing
Learn
kind
how
of
to play.
applies still. Like, if you get Capitao into Hall of Fame, and then you just shoot a bolt at the theater window, like, nobody can play anywhere near that now.
Yeah.
Like, that'll even get the person... And think about, like, the typical soft mira on the left side of that, the theater door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Since that's always soft, you can
just hit the wall above
yeah,
it.
you just yeah, exactly. You just hit the wall, and now they can't play anywhere near that.
Or even with the
they have
way
to
the
back
new
way off.
yeah, even in the way the new propagation system works, like you could just shoot it like in the doorway and it would spread out far enough, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess just to back up a little bit and explain, so during the test server for Operation Outback or Operation Burnt Horizon, Operation Outback, Capitao's bolt was changed so that the asphyxiation bolt was changed so that it propagates out from like it had like a particulate aspect to it, so it would no longer like clip through reinforced walls or surfaces or floors, and it was deemed to be like really overpowered.
Yeah.
So they reverted it, but now
because
so
it was
because it was
clear,
yeah
because it was.
But the second iteration of it, so they have the increased area of effect and the reduced damage, and it still propagates the same way, but it gives you a warning. Basically, like it propagates in stages. So the first stage, within like a second of the bolt hitting its target, is just like 1 meter, 1 meter diameter, and then another second later it expands, and you can hear it. It gives you a sound cue, and visually, like the area of effect expands to, I don't know, 2 or 3 meters in diameter, and then it expands again to
like
what
3 or
looks
4.
like 3 or 4. Yeah. But it happens in stages, which gives you warning to like get out of the way.
Yeah, but you still can't do anything about it.
No, you can't do anything about it, and it still falls. So like you can still hit it above areas and it will drop into that area, which is just, that's the part about it that was broken and overpowered to me, not like,
yeah,
sure, the speed at which it propagates was also a problem because it propagates to this massive like 3 or 4 meter area that you're now stuck in. But the fact that you could just shoot it at a ceiling and it would drop to the floor underneath it, like that's a problem. I think that's still vastly overpowered.
Yeah, and this particular fix just means that people will take less damage from fire. It doesn't change the fact that it will completely force people out of very large areas.
Yeah, like, huge. Yeah, the area of effect is pretty big.
All of half wall on border. Like you can't play behind there at all.
Right. And that's shooting the bolt from outside the map, from beneath, like from outside the vents window, which is extremely low risk. Like it's still sort of risky, I guess, but not really.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting stuff. We talked about this the last time we talked about Capitao. Like I agree with the propagation not going through walls and surfaces because it shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. That's like the best part of it, but this just seems off.
Yeah. And the damage reduction and area of effect increase, fine. But the fact that it falls to the ground from wherever you like hit it is a problem for me.
Yeah, like think about the I mean, this is going to come into the live build probably well before Year 4 Season 2. So think about Cafe. The bottom floor.
I try not to.
Yeah, I do too. But like think about how bad Capitao already was on that bottom floor site.
Mm-hmm.
If you just go to those north windows on Bakery and then just shoot 2 firebolts at the at that door at the bottom of red.
Mm-hmm.
Now you just shoot 1 and it'll like back them all the way up into Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's kind of a bad example because that bottom floor site is garbage, and like the map's getting reworked in a few months probably.
Yeah, it's just gonna.
Well, if you think about it, like so staying on Cafe, like basically the entire bar floor is spammable, right? Like you can wall bang or floor bang, all of that. So you can just go underneath this Capitao. Like if somebody's playing I
was actually doing that in the TTS back before Burnt Horizon came out. Like I just run in pillars, go into reading room, and then I went under Cocktail, shot 1 pistol hole up, and then landed it behind the that bar at Cocktail.
and now that person's flushed out. And if you're holding the hatch or not the hatch, but the skylight, or if you're already in cigar, like that person's dead.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, you can
Unless they
even,
go white. But
it doesn't even have to be that intricate. Like that's a really like big brain way to get rid of someone behind that, but it doesn't even have to be that ridiculous, because you can do the same thing from cigar. You just crouch below so the person in cocktail can't see you, and you just crouch at the doorway to cigar, and you just shoot it at the wall behind that.
Well, and
bar.
now that I think about it, even with the way that cafe is now, if you just spawn like to the south, the main, I forget what it's called, but like the front door, not the Christmas spawn, you can just do it from the double windows.
Yeah. And especially now that it has an arc. Dude, I guarantee you can find a place where you shoot it up to the top floor and then it arcs perfectly and then just hits the wall behind cocktail. Like right off a spawn.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it right now. Like I bet you can, because you can get a line of sight up to like not necessarily cocktail, but pretty close.
Yeah.
And then with the ballistic arc that it has now, yeah, like that's probably not very hard to do. Thank God that map is getting a rework. I was thinking about not cafe. What was the map I was thinking where it'd be easy? There are lots of situations where it's just way overpowered. Like obviously border is a big one.
Yeah, and like again,
coastline
that
is a big one.
That whole half wall thing,
like Villa.
Is another. Oh yeah, tons of stuff on Villa for sure.
Yeah, dude. Like, I mean,
like
first of all,
anywhere from below.
Anywhere, yeah. Though, like basically the whole floor is destructible on Villa almost.
And with how big they get now, if you use 2 of them, you just cover an entire site.
Basically, yeah. Good luck holding Aviator Games.
Yeah, it's gonna be like Free Plant City in Aviator Games now.
Pretty much.
Although the to be fair though, you take a lot less damage. So if somebody wants to get aggressive, they can push through it and fight you. But they're still going to take a lot of damage. If you're doing
it from below, like as a Capitao, if you're doing it from below and you just have people like holding the angles, like it's hard. You're going to take a ton of damage if you're ADS'd and trying to fight an angle while in the fire or in the asphyxiation. Like either that or you're sprinting. So unless you're like a hipfire god, or your reticle placement is so good that like you know, can kill somebody in the process of ADSing while after sprinting, like, which it's possible with, you know, one-shot headshot mechanics. Anything can happen, but it's just hard. It's just really hard. So yeah, that's the new Capitao. I don't know. I'm not sure that this Capitao build is going to make it to the main game. I think it's going to get, if not reverted again, then at least dialed back a bit.
Yeah, I hope so.
I mean, I personally, like, I love Capitao. I play Capitao all the time. I like his guns. I wish that his crossbow was a little bit more user-friendly. Like Zophia's thing, her launcher is like, it's great. But Capitao's crossbow is like unwieldy.
It has a lot of lag to it. Like it takes a lot more time to do all the things.
Yeah, a lot more
Capitao.
time.
Yeah, and Zophia is just like, if you want to unload all of your utility from your launcher, it's just like click, click, flick it, click, click, gone.
Yeah.
But with Capitao, it's like click, swing, click.
Like I understand having to reload a separate cartridge instead of like she's just, you know, her cartridges are already preloaded. She's just swapping back and forth. Like I get it from a realism standpoint that he actually has to load a different cartridge into his thing, but still, come on.
Yeah,
it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, that shouldn't even enter. Well, it should to some extent enter the argument, but like, it should be more about game balance. And
yeah, for sure.
I think Zofia is just a little ridiculous in how quickly she can use her gadget, but that's just me.
I think it's great.
I mean, it's pretty sweet. It's good, but I feel like it's kind of insane how quickly she can do certain things with her gadget.
Yeah. That's fair. So is that it about Capitao?
Yeah, that's all we got about our boy.
So I guess the next thing that's coming up on the docket is the reverse friendly fire, which they now does that say that they have already done it or they're planning on doing it still?
I think
Was it in with this patch?
I'm thinking I'm pretty sure it's in with this patch. It's in the TTS right now, except nobody has had a chance to test it because nobody's playing the TTS.
Yeah,
Pretty much every single person on the TTS subreddit has been like, I can't find a game.
Rip. It's still early on in the season. People are grinding, so
Yeah.
let's give it a week before people get bored, I think.
Yeah, and I don't think we really need to go into too much detail about it because everybody kind of already knows what the reverse friendly fire is. But we should just hint on that new thing where you can now forgive someone and then not turn on the reverse friendly fire.
Well, yeah, I think the most important aspect of the reverse friendly fire is the fact that it activates by default. So if you TK somebody, it's getting activated no matter what. But if the person that was TK'd, they get a kill cam now, and if they determine that it was unintentional, then they can forgive you, and then you don't get you get the reverse friendly fire deactivated at that point. Mm-hmm. But if they either confirm that it was intentional or they do nothing, then it stays activated, and you have no choice about that.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, it's better than putting it to like a vote on the team. Just giving
Agreed.
The person who was team killed the power and the say, like it's better than doing nothing, and it's better than doing it the other way. So it's fine.
And there's a lot of people saying that it's going to be like you can still troll people, and that's true, but it's a
I'm
lot.
sure you can.
It's a lot better than what it was.
Yeah, it's definitely better than what it was, and the way that like we're still unsure, right? Because we can't get the testing in quite yet, but like. We're unsure of how it works with like thermite charges and fuse charges, and they do say that you'll get a warning message if you tag people with like an evil eye or a Twitch drone.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't catch that.
You'd probably have to kill them with an evil eye or a Twitch drone to actually get the reverse friendly fire activated. But I think it says it will at least show you a warning.
Yeah.
That like, hey, don't do that.
One of the ideas I had recently for how to abuse it was now if you're Fuse playing hostage and you know somebody's like camping on the hostage, mm-hmm. If you and like say they're the last person left and you know they're camping on the hostage just trying to like get you to accidentally shoot the hostage. If you team kill someone and they don't forgive you and then you just fuse it, I'm pretty sure the hostage damage also goes on to you.
So actually, I'm reading further down into this, and they changed it so that if the reverse team kill is activated, then if you kill somebody with a gadget, then the team damage is reflected back onto the gadget and not onto you.
Weird.
Yeah. So in that situation, let me read this. So after a player's first validated team kill, all further damage inflicted upon teammates or the hostage is reflected back to the player. When a player uses a unique operator gadget to deal this damage, reflected damage will impact the gadget itself. So, yeah, according to this information, with the way that it is right now, without any changes, if you were to fuse somebody after having the team kill already activated, reverse team kill damage, then your gadget would just get destroyed and not do any damage to anyone.
Interesting.
But that's only if it's going to do damage to your team. So let's say hypothetically, you know, because the few charges activate from left to right.
Yeah.
So if you're in a room with a hostage and a teammate that you've already TK'd that game, if the teammate's like out of the way of the blast will continue until it hits that person, and then your gadget will be destroyed at that point.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's the same. Like, I wonder how that works with like an ash charge. Like, if you ash charge of your teammate, if it direct impacts them, that would probably reflect the damage onto you because you fired it and it hit them.
I wonder if it would destroy.
Or maybe it just gets destroyed.
It's kind of like a Jaeger device. Huh. And so, like, the obvious ones are like Twitch drones and Evil Eyes. Like, it would probably just destroy the Twitch drone or the Evil Eye if you shoot your teammate with it.
Right.
Like, that one seems pretty straightforward. But yeah, there's gonna be some weird ones like fuse charges or Ash charges, Zofia charges. Like, you can't really reflect damage back. Like, you can't reflect the damage that a Zofia impact grenade does back onto itself. Like, that doesn't mean anything. Like,
yeah, it would just disappear
on impact.
That's true, but it just wouldn't explode, I think, at that point. It would just do nothing. Maybe? I don't know, but that adds like...
it would still deal damage to the opponent, though?
I don't know.
It would still break the wall that it hits, right? Probably.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's going to be weird.
I think so. I think the way that my brain is processing this, I think if it's a projectile that's fired out of a gun, then it would still reflect damage onto you, like a Zofia or an Ash.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's like a deployable gadget, like a thermite charge or a fuse charge, then it would reflect the damage onto the gadget.
I wonder
because in my brain there's no way to code that. Like,
yeah, I wonder if throwing a C4 at a teammate would break the C4, or if it would just reflect that 5 damage back onto you.
That's an interesting. It's also a very good point. I think if you throw it and detonate it, then it obviously reflects the damage onto you.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you just hit him, like direct impact him with it,
yeah,
like say you're trying to reset or something, yeah, it probably just gets destroyed. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that also seems weird because like with a smoke grenade, if a teammate walks into it and takes damage, like does the smoke grenade that's already gone take the damage or?
Nah, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it would have to reflect back onto the smoke.
Yeah.
All things that we'll have to test out.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that people like Rogue9 and
yeah, and actually Rogue9 already put out a video like not necessarily testing a whole bunch of different situations, although maybe he did already test a few situations, but he kind of already explained a few of the things that he thinks could be issues with it. But I think no matter what, it's still better than before, because now you can forgive people, which is already better than what it was before.
Yeah. Leaving all else already makes it the same, just the forgiveness system is an improvement. Like if they had just implemented the forgiveness system and not done the reverse team friendly fire, then it would be a vast improvement on what it was before, I think.
Yeah, and it's still gonna be difficult for someone to intentionally team kill and then continue to have
multiple and then
game.
It's gonna be really hard for those people to continue being toxic assholes for like an entire match. And then also down at the bottom it says that they're looking at like multiple team kill sanctions. So like if they're tracking the team kills, and if somebody is a consistent TKer, then they might catch a ban or something. Not like maybe a temporary ban.
Yeah.
Or maybe even a permanent ban. Who knows?
Ubi, please.
Ubi, please.
Actually, that'll get a couple of our friends banned on accident.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't TK very often. But it does. Like accidental TKs are fine. Like without accidental TKing, the game is just not as interesting and not as high stakes.
Yeah, agreed.
So, but then you obviously have the abuse where people are purposefully TKing. And I remember back in my console days, like it used to be a huge, massive issue.
Console is really bad about it. Like I went back.
Console's really bad in a lot of respects from what I hear. Like I haven't played console in over a year, but I hear that they're just not getting any love.
I think it's especially bad now for the two main reasons are the now you can DDoS people on console.
That's dumb.
And then, well, I guess this isn't a new thing, but like the just like the typically younger crowd who plays on a console is just more toxic in general, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I would venture to say, I don't have any data to back this up, but just from my personal experience, I would say that the player base on console is on average younger.
Yeah.
And that younger people on average are more toxic.
Yeah, I mean, they're more immature. You can say that almost with 100% certainty.
Yeah, for sure.
But that, and actually the worst part about console was just the communication. Like, it was really hard to find people who actually talked in game.
Yeah, I think it's probably better now. I mean, you're going on to like the ubiquity of headsets and microphones and stuff, which is increasing over time. But also people willing to talk, and it's weird on PC too, because you get people from different regions. So like if you're on the West Coast, you get Asian players a lot. Or like West Coast and the South Central US servers get a lot of like Mexican players. Not a lot, but it happens. And then like in the north,
but at least
you might get some.
Your ping with them isn't usually that bad though.
No, the ping's not bad, but the communication definitely
good point.
Can suffer. But like in the central server, you can get like a lot of Canadians who might like speak French or something, who knows. And then on the East Coast, you get the EU players, which a lot of EU people speak English anyway, but
for sure.
They might be hesitant to talk in game because of their accents that will get them roasted. Which if their ping wasn't already getting them roasted.
Yeah. Well, speaking of EU players, do you wanna talk about Fabian a little bit? Have we?
He talks about himself enough, I think. No, so Fabian was on an episode of Pro and the Potato, which is Get Flanked's series, where he is the potato in that equation. And he talks to different pros about whatever. So Fabian was on. It was after the Invitational. It was just like a week or so ago, and a lot of interesting. Some interesting information. He confirmed 100% that they were saving strats, which he had already confirmed like via tweet, but now he's like, he's live on video saying, yeah, absolutely, we were.
Yeah, going into detail about how they, what specifically they did.
And it was definitely there was definitely a misinterpretation from people about what saving strats even meant. So some people thought that they were like playing the same maps that they wanted to, playing the same operators, but like saving an actual like setup, a defensive setup or an attacking like strategy. Mm-hmm. But that's not what I meant, and that's not what they were doing, because they were straight up like, well, they played like he said in the thing, they played Oregon was it Oregon? Yeah, they played Oregon every single time that it was available. So 50% of the time they picked Oregon. Yeah. Which G2, formerly Penta, are known. They're renowned for not liking Oregon, not picking Oregon. It was like a perma ban for them for a long time. And so that's a red flag right there already when you see them like playing on Oregon at all. Like,
right.
That's them saving strats. That's them saving. They're playing a map that they don't like and think that they're not good at, instead of playing maps that they do like and are good at. So that's a strat saving.
And if you're gonna kind of like off pick a map, it might as well be Oregon, because in some ways it's the most straightforward map.
Yeah, Oregon's really formulaic, very predictable, very just played out. You just do the same thing. It's repetitive. Especially as a support player, like me playing Mira or Maestro or whatever, it's just so boring.
Yeah, the roam can get creative, but yeah, as an anchor, it's very straightforward.
Yeah. But yeah, so they weren't playing their same maps. They weren't picking the right bomb sites. They weren't like, and this goes into the difference between strategy and tactics, which so strategy is what you do outside the game. It's like that's what your setups look like, which maps you pick, which rounds, or which where you go, certain defenses, like what type of attacks you're doing. Those are strategies. Those are things that you come up with when you're not playing. And then tactics are what you do in game to facilitate those strategies, like hold this angle or peek this or set up this Maestro Cam or Mirror Window or Shield or Barbed Wire. Like those are your tactics.
And even so to some extent, probably like how many people you send to any given place.
Absolutely, yeah. Anything you do in game is a tactic. Anything that you come up with outside of the game is a strategy. So like if you're saying like out, your strategy involves, let's say we're gonna play Coastline and we're gonna go to the Sunrise Bar and Blue Bar, and we're gonna set up this, and the strategy is to, hold 3 people upstairs and 2 people downstairs, and we're gonna hold the courtyard, by opening up the wall, and we're gonna hold it from wherever. Like that's your strategy. The tactics that you use to accomplish that strategy are, specifically who is playing where and watching what and holding what, and adapting to the attack. If they're coming from here, I need to rotate over there, or if this person dies, which person rotates into that spot, if it's a powerful enough position. Like, so I think when people were hearing the term saving strats, like they confuse that with like not playing tactically to their full potential, which is not the same. Like as Fabian said, is that they still were, even if they were playing their off maps, their off sites, their off operators, in game tactically they were still trying their best to win.
Right.
Which I think there's direct evidence against that also. Like going back to the consulate match where they didn't drone at all. And they, he said that, yeah, sure, they had communication issues and they had consistency problems. And I think Jonas specifically has been having a tough season. Like if you look at, I don't know if it's a role problem, if he's on the wrong roles, or if he's just like burning out, or I don't know what's going on, but he has like definitely at the Invitational, and then in most of the games in the season he's not been playing very well.
I think I don't remember when it was. I think it was actually last week. I was watching him, and he seemed to do really well this first week of Pro League being back. But yeah, he had been struggling quite a bit. Or maybe I'm thinking of the wrong person, but yeah.
I watched their game, their most recent Pro League match, but I honestly don't remember like much about it.
Yeah, and I might be remembering the wrong thing, but I think the point to take away is that there's just going to inherently be some struggles if you're not playing a particular strategy.
Well, yeah,
like,
there's some strategies that are just better.
Yeah, what the ideal strategy is going to be, or what you want to do at Invitational or whatever it may end up being. And if you're intentionally not doing that because you need that for Invitational, then you have to do maybe the next best or the next best strategy.
Right, then, but there's definitely a hierarchy.
Yeah, and there's going to be specifically probably communication issues because you're doing a strategy that isn't going to work as easily, like isn't going to, and also it's going to be a backup strategy that you might not know like the back of your hand, like the actual perfect strategy that you've been developing over the past month or whatever it may be. So that can feed into issues that make it look like they just don't know what they're doing. And that's just the risk that they were willing to take in order to win the Invitational.
Well, right, and the reason they were willing to take that risk is because, as he said in the episode, winning the Invitational won them 11 times more money than winning any Pro League final. So,
which is mind-boggling how much money that is.
Yeah, I mean they won $800,000, off of the Invitational, and I think that disappointed a lot of people in the community. I know for sure it disappointed like Kixon and Taro when they were talking about it on the Pro League stream, that they wanted, or maybe it wasn't on the Pro League stream. I think maybe Taro was talking about it on the Hot Breach podcast. I don't remember, but one of them said that it's unfortunate, and they were disappointed in the fact that no, it's okay. That's my mistake. So this was Get Flanked's direct counterpoint to Fabian in that same episode. I am so dumb sometimes. So Get Flanked was disappointed in that he hoped that Fabian and the rest of the players on G2 would be just that their competitive nature would outweigh, like they were trying to win everything all the time, and not be thinking about the money primarily, which just isn't the case. I mean, especially if you know anything about Fabian or know anything about his personality, like he cares more about the money and earnings and his winnings than
and
any other aspect of
and
the big tournaments, which are they go hand in hand basically.
Yeah.
Then he cares about, any other aspect of competitive play.
And the thing is, there's also something to be said for the fact that G2 is a team that is good enough to do mediocre in the Pro League.
Right.
And then
they don't have to prove themselves anymore. Like they're
crush
proven
the Invitational, and they don't give a shit. Like, you can't say the same thing for Reciprocity. Like, if Reciprocity was like
throwing the Pro League,
if they were throwing or if they were saving strats to the extent that G2 was during the Pro League, they might not even gotten them. Well, they would have because they won the DreamHack. I don't know what would be another good example of that. But you get what I mean. Like, not every team can do that. Not every team can slow roll the Pro League. Just
they can't afford to.
The fact that they're going to win the Invitational.
No, they can't afford to do that at all. No other team. You could use any other team. EG, for instance. EG was probably saving strats like to the same degree or similarly as G2.
Mm-hmm.
But even EG can't really afford to throw the Pro League in that manner to lose that many games. Like G2 is barely even in the running for a Pro League to make it to the LAN final.
You're hurting me. Stop.
Sorry. But yeah, there's a good chance. Like at right now, it's probably a 50-50 chance that they won't make it. If they tie or lose another game, then they straight up won't make it to the LAN final in Milan, which I think for a lot of people would be a shock and a disappointment. But it's really indicative of their long-term game plan, which is to not burn out, to get some rest, and to win the most amount of money that they possibly can, which does not involve trying their asses off to go to Milan.
Yeah, I think, but yeah, that's an exact affirmation of my point that not another team in the game could do that.
No, and like the point I was trying to make with EG is that they're quote unquote the second best team. They're the G2 killers. Like everybody's putting their hopes on them to topple G2. But when was the last? What was the last thing that they won?
Yeah, which unfortunately you can't really like that title is slipping away. The G2 killer or the best in NA is kind of slipping away. I could easily see SSG just picking up that mantle. Yeah,
for sure. SSG, Rogue to some extent, and maybe now that BC is on Dark Zero, like on their main roster, like who knows? They looked really strong in their last game.
Yeah, dude, BC. He's still got
BC's
it, man.
A nut. Yeah, he does.
He played crazy good in their. I think it was Reciprocity. Was the team they just
Reciprocity,
played, right?
On Coastline. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, that was a really good match.
It was. But yeah, I mean, the last big tournament that EG won was the first Invitational.
Yes. Unfortunately.
And that's it. So it's hard it's for them, like they can't afford to be tanking the Pro League. Like they need to win. They need to go to the LAN final and win that shit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like the whole company, the whole org is like running in the red.
Yeah, EG isn't just going to be like, that's fine.
No.
Like they need to keep the success up.
But on the flip side of that puts more pressure. I think that puts a lot of pressure on G2 as well, because now, like, if they're gonna throw the Pro League like that, then they had to win the Invitational. Like they had to.
And they'll be riding high on that for a while. And
they're the world champions for another year.
Yeah, they have made such an impact on the Pro League.
Yeah.
That at this point they would have to throw like 2 full seasons in a row to become irrelevant.
That at least, yeah.
Yeah, at the very least.
And I think they said they're not even going to be playing in Dream Hacks because it's just not worth it to them.
Right. Yeah, the DreamHack and the CCS.
Right.
I think there might have been one other thing he mentioned that they aren't even going to dabble in because it's just not
Well,
worth it.
Their players are still playing Go Fours, at least as individuals. So there's that, but there's no money in Go Fours. Well, there's a little.
Yeah. That's just like lazy Sundays hanging out.
Yeah, Go For. That's Pengu's equivalent of just like jumping into ranked.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna do a Go For casually. Whereas Go Fours for us are like the height of competitive play. Like trying as hard as we possibly can.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, that's all I got.
That's all I got. But if you've stuck it out this long, thanks for listening. We're gonna be. I haven't put out another video on my YouTube since 2 weeks ago when we recorded our last episode, which is
right.
Shame on me. But
well, we even missed last week. It was a slow news cycle there for a minute.
Yeah, and I was sick last week, so I won't be too hard on myself. But yeah, I'll be getting more of those videos out soon. TM.
Soon TM. Yeah.
But,
yeah. Thanks for listening to us and listening to us rant and bitch about the game. It's been a real pleasure.
Indeed. Check us out on Twitter. The links will be in the description. Check us out on YouTube. Give us a like. If you're on YouTube, smash that like button.
Oh,
completely fucking destroy it. Take a screwdriver to your screen.
You just got us so many dislikes for that.
Fuck.
It's of all the 8 people that listen to this, they're gonna get like a 50% dislike ratio. Thank you.
Alrighty. But anyway,
thanks for
listening. We'll catch you next week.